Accessing arrays with named indexes. Many programming languages support arrays with named indexes. Arrays with named indexes are called associative arrays or hashes. So it looks like this, something like this. First name, then you can say John. So this is how an associative array looks like in other programming language, but in JavaScript, it is not supported. JavaScript does not support arrays with name indexes. In JavaScript, array used number indexes. Let's look at an example of how array used numbered indexes in JavaScript. So if you look at my code, there's an error. HTML may represent the root of an HTML document expected. Okay. So what is being expected? Sorry, I got it. I use this to troubleshoot it. This is not the output I want actually. The output I want is this. Now, the space should be 3. You can see John and 3. Now, the length of this array is 1, 2, 3. And the property in the first position is John. And now you can see John and then 3. Now, in JavaScript, objects use name indexes, but array do not. Array uses number indexes, just as this example just demonstrated unto us. This cannot use an example of the associative array I gave earlier, which is supported in other programming languages, but not in JavaScript, because JavaScript uses number indexes and not name indexes. On the other hand, objects use name indexes. If you use a name index when accessing an array, JavaScript will define the array to a standard object. After the automatic redefinition, array method and property will produce undefined or incorrect result. So what this is saying is that in JavaScript, objects use name indexes. And now, if you use a name index when accessing an array, now JavaScript will redefine that array to a standard object, but after that automatic redefinition, array method and property will produce undefined or inconsistent results. Let's look at an example so that we can internalize this. So let's say I have something like this. Person, first name is John, then last name is Joe, and then I have person's age to be this. Now, if you look at this now, you can see that this has been converted into an object by JavaScript by default. But after this automatic redefinition, you can see that the array method of getting length, array property of length, is producing undefined, which means that the array method and property will produce either undefined or incorrect result. And it is to show us that JavaScript by default does not support name indexes, but instead it uses number indexes like we saw in the first example. Let's move on and talk about End definition with a comma. Trailing commas in object and array definition are legal in ECMAScript 5. So in ECMAScript, ending trailing comma in object and array they are legal. For example, so you can have something like this. Now you can see that each property is separated by a comma, and the same thing for an array. So we can have a point like this way. You can see that each property is separated by comma. So this is supported in ECMAScript 5 in JavaScript. Undefined is not null. JavaScript objects, variables, properties, and methods can be undefined. In addition, empty JavaScript objects can have the value null. This can make it a little bit difficult to test if an object is empty. You can test if an object exists by testing if the type is undefined. For example, if I do this, I want to check if type of my object equals undefined. My system is hanging actually. So now you can see. That code is giving an error. Let's use it straight like this. Document.get elements by ID. Type of my so now with this now you can actually check for the type of a particular variable to see if it has an undefined as a type. Now this is not showing anything. Let me inspect if there's any error. Okay. This is supposed to return true for me, but my system is this editor is currently misbehaving, like the same issue I had the other time. So it is the reason why it's not returning anything. So this is supposed to return true as the value of my object, as the type of my object. And that is because when an object has a testing type of undefined, it does not mean it is null. It just simply means that you can, it just simply means that something exists but has no value. That is basically the meaning of undefined in JavaScript. So let's just move on and talk about what other things do we have here. In addition, empty JavaScript objects can have the value null. This can make it a little bit difficult to test if an object is empty. So